Now, the number of Chinese tourists visiting the U.S. continues to boom. According to Brand USA, China is the fourth largest source for the market of inbound tourists to the U.S. Last year, slightly more than 2 million Chinese nationals visited. And apparently, they're also the biggest spenders as well, because each one spends, on average, around $6,000 during their stay. Multiply all those numbers together, that's $24 billion a year. The group expects China to become one of the biggest source of tourists by the year 2018. For more, I spoke to Chris Thompson, President and CEO of Brand USA, and asked about Chinese cooperation on tourism.
The biggest request is just for us to help promote China. And, you know, if you look at the country of China, it's massive, massive geographically, largest population in the world. There's more cities in China with 1 million or more in population that people would have no idea the names of those cities. So in those 31 provinces, there's amazing things to see and do. And I would venture to guess that most of the United States has very little knowledge other than the obvious gateways and the obvious stories they learned, however they learned it. So their biggest request of us is to help them to promote their country.
Yeah, Malik, I can tell you from talking to a lot of folks in the U.S., there's plenty of interest in at least visiting China for sure. But the issue is always, one, time,
the long haul.
Two, flights, because not everybody lives in New York and L.A. And I know there are direct flights from there, but there are plenty of cities in the United States that it's a lot of work to get over there. It's a long ways away.
Yeah.
And the airlines, I mean, have you spoken to them? I know some flights have been added from certain city pairs, but is there a more concerted effort perhaps to link both countries together with more flights?
Absolutely. So the only way you can get here is by air. And so the existing service is obviously hugely important. Our ability to expand existing routes with more planes and service on those routes, and then our ability to bring new routes in. So I think there's as much interest both from the carriers and then from the destinations in and out of inbound and outbound travel in China as any other destination in the world. It is the great frontier, and with the potential that it has, and with this new visa validity, it really is one of the market that has, if we're looking at our goal of 100 million international visitors by 2021, that's another, between now and then, in 2014 and 21, we got to find 25 million new visitors.
That's
it's a huge number.
Staggering number.
Huge number.
Let me talk about the economy. Situation in Europe isn't great. Situation in China isn't great either. And we're still arguing about what it is here in the United States. If the economy were to get a little weaker around the world, how does that impact travel, or does it?
It really depends. It depends on the magnitude of it and the length of it. But our history has shown us that for the most part, as it relates to travel, even when people are challenged economically, they're looking for some relief. They're looking for the ability to be able to go on those trips. So in most cases, they're not going to cancel the trip. They may just change their travel patterns. So they may shorten it. What they do when they go might be different. So we're staying on top of that, and we're not taking it for granted, assuming that they will still come. But there are some challenging situations in economies around the world that if it remains long-term, it will affect us.
The average amount that a Chinese traveler spends when they come here is approximately $6,000. And I don't know if that surprises you or doesn't surprise you, but I'm wondering, in terms of a trend, do we see that trend continue to move higher? And what exactly is the breakdown of the $6,000 they're spending on? I imagine airfare and hotels.
It's usually the same. It's made up of the same things, but because it's a long-haul trip and they usually come and stay longer, that's why the spend is higher. And they are spenders, big spenders, that when they come, they want to enjoy what the United States has to offer as far as experiences. They want to immerse themselves in the culinary opportunities. They want to do shopping. They have a great track record of shopping. And then they really have a great track record of wanting to get around and see and do things. So the normal visitor across all of our international visitors is about $4,500. So the Chinese are a high-end spending group, and that's why they're so important to us because you know, the return on the investment of attracting Chinese visitors is significantly higher.
And look, I mean, everything's not perfect. I mean, we know you have the right trends going for you, and I'm sure all these companies, from cruise lines to hotels to airline companies, they want you to be very, very, very successful because it only means they are successful. What are the challenges that you face when you work with some of the counterparts? What is it that you want them to do to make it easier for international visitors to come here?
I would say the biggest challenge we have is, you know, we can sit here and talk about the sheer size of the market and the potential for it to deliver on a lot of what we're trying to accomplish. but talking about being China ready, which is understanding the Chinese culture, welcoming them in language with cultural awareness. There are communities that have been doing that for many, many years that have been seeing the lion's share of Chinese visitors, but there's communities that want to be in that game that maybe aren't quite ready yet. So it's kind of a chicken and egg thing. We want to continue to grow the market. We want to expand the market. We want to expand more places to where they're going, and we just need to make sure that our communities that are welcoming them are ready to do that.